everyone. It's Metalia here. Um, you might be wondering why I'm recording myself in the car. So, actually, the reason is because my parents are currently in the house, and as soon as I get back home after work, I'm wearing this black polo shirt right now because I just finished work. I work in childcare, and every time I come back home while my parents are visiting Australia, like I just barely have time, a lot of time for myself or even to create content. So I figured this would be a good opportunity, whilst I'm in the car, just parked near my place. So the reason why I want to create a video is just to sort of, you know, give an update about how I feel, how I've been feeling these days about life. I know that most of the time I always post intellectual content. Um, Intellectual content um, about, recently my podcast with the Reverend David on liberty, the concepts of murder versus kill, and also on Christian marriage. It's funny that, I still talk about Christianity, I mean, Christian perspectives on things sometimes, I think, because my family's not even Christian, but I still carry, that history, where I studied theology and I was um, raised, well, I went to a Christian school. So I feel like Western Christian heritage is something that I'm familiar with, and um yeah, that I appreciate. um so in today's video I just kind of want to talk about, I feel, the paradox of friendships and relationships, more precisely the paradox of love and connection. And if you've watched some of my YouTube shorts, I talked about how we're living in a gradually atomized society, and how, you know, love or finding love through dating apps seems like you're kind of winning a lottery, or like, um you're kind of purchasing something and you're getting a transaction, um and the way a lot of people, especially like, Gen Z's, like my generation, people born after 2000s, not everyone though, they approach dating in, I don't know, just somewhat, some, not all, um in a way where they feel like, love is just something that can be won like a prize, it kind of alienates people more because every time they attend, like, well, a blind date, let's say, or an actual date where you have known the date for a long time, whether it's a, you know any gender, um you it just kind of feels like the first thing they'd ask is, what's their body count, right? Like, it's like that's the first thing they want to know, what's your body count, like, how many people have you slept with, and like, how much money do you have in your, in your bank account, and like, what's your job. And I mean, I know those factors are important, and I can agree, like, now that I'm in my mid 20s, I feel like I am a bit more selective when it comes to, um yeah, selecting the kind of friends and partner or people that I want to, invest my time and energy to, my energy with. Because, when I was in my late teens and when I was in my early 20s, I just felt like I could handle a bit more bullshit, in my life, because I was new, I was new, and I still am to some degree, like new to relationships, friendships. I still have a lot to learn, I believe, about boundaries, respect, communication styles and techniques, to use with different kinds of personalities. Um, and back to my original, idea that I want to talk about. It just feels paradoxical when people say that, oh, you can meet the right person. You know that you've met the right person if your communication style feels natural. If it feels like you can be yourself, that you can be sort of at ease. But at the same time, I also believe that, here's the paradox, right? Like connection, they say people who are right for each other, who are soulmates, so to speak, like they feel that the relationship is it flows naturally, their wavelength matches, their energy matches with each other. But I also feel like sometimes, most of the time, connections are also earned, um and this has nothing to do, I feel, with what I've talked about a bit earlier, um about modern dating, like how people count your body count and that sort of thing. It's more about how, it's like getting a job. Like if you want to get in a job, you have to have a job first, right? Like if you want to step up in your career, or if you want to have a full-time job or a part-time job, the hiring managers, they would want to see you at least have some level of experience in volunteer work or paid work, right? And I feel like it's kind of similar, like I feel like the analogy is quite similar to finding love, isn't it? I mean, do all of us really know what love is? Probably most of us won't have a clue. I mean, I question myself a lot as well, like what's love? There's six types of love. Well, I don't know everything, but I know there's eros, erotic love. There's philia, friendship kind of love. There's pragma, pragmatic love, and yeah, all sorts of love. Um, there's agape as well. I think that's heavenly love, and I feel like coming back to that, idea that love or connection is earned, um, and comparing that idea to the idea that you connect, um like when you meet the right person, you connect well with them, and it feels natural. I feel like that only happens if you have established yourself to some extent, like establish your standards, like what your boundaries are, I feel. Like what you can and cannot tolerate, within a friendship or a partnership, in a marriage, or in a friendship or a boyfriend girlfriend dynamic. um and yeah, um you gotta establish yourself. It's a bit like a job, that in order for you to be able to feel that you can be your natural self with someone, I feel like you need to have experience as well, or like you have to sort of establish or have some sort of achievement, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be a material achievement. It can be, and in this case I'm probably speaking more on experience. You probably need to, well, the fact of life is that we kind of have to suffer a bit in order to be able to withstand, or you know not let, or be a bit invincible, I guess, or yeah, not be influenced by the deeper sufferings of life, so to speak. So Yeah, that's how I feel, like these days I just feel like as I have a full-time job, I feel like it's a bit harder to meet friends. Well, I still keep in touch with my friends from university. Although along the way after I've graduated, like before I got myself a full-time job, I have met people who consider me as a friend. But I just feel like with these people, I'm not going to mention their names out of respect. Well, I mean, they're people close to my age, and like, I feel like they kind of just see me as a friend just because I'm there to listen to their stories, to them ranting and to them talking about their high school, like, love drama and that. And yeah, I just find it funny because, like, in the end, I thought that I could trust these people. I've shared a bit about myself, and the sad part is like sometimes these people just they're just not interested in me, I suppose. And it's just a case where I think maybe I'm a bit too idealistic sometimes. Like I can't always expect that people would feel the obligation to be to empathize with me or to be kind to me or to reciprocate the same level of kindness, that I give them, I guess, in listening to their stories and trying to give advice on love, relationships, and that. But the truth is, like, I don't always have the energy to reach out or, to reply to their messages because every time I come back home from work, I'm always tired. I mean, I've probably annoyed some people where, like, I'm very slow in responding to their, yeah, messages, and maybe some people just decide not to associate with me from that. But I think now that I'm in my mid 20s and like now that I have a job, not trying to be arrogant though, I know that it's a lot. It takes a lot of time and effort to find a job these days, especially in Australia. You need to have a qualification, you need to have blah 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 experience and this and that. And yeah, I don't discount that. But what I'm saying is that, yeah, when I'm occupied, I feel like I'm more selective in who I'm giving my time and energy to. And sadly, I can't be as people pleasing as I used to before. I remember, like, probably I've probably changed from the person that I was a year or two ago. I was a lot more accommodating. I was able to kind of like just tolerate any, people ranting about their dislike towards men, let's say, or something. Um, and just right now, I just don't, I just want to do something, like for myself, rather than just being swayed, or being soon into people's negative energy. Let's say if they talk about something they don't like about, maybe about some political event or something, and then like I know about that event, but I kind of want to get away from it, from discussing about it because it drains me, but that person doesn't listen, then I just feel like, at this point, I might have to cut those people out. Like, I probably have to be honest with myself first before I'm honest with other people. Yeah. So, yeah, that's all. I don't really want this to be a long video. I do want to know what you guys think though. Um, because this has been something that's in my mind for a while. I don't want to get a bit too direct, I guess, or personal because, um, sometimes some of the things that I think are, you know, just solely experienced by me may be experienced by many people. So yeah, if you're wondering why I'm also tying up my hair today, and yeah, I'm wearing like Christmas earrings. Like these are ribbon earrings that I bought from Lovisa. It's a jewelry shop in Melbourne, shopping center near my place. It's really cute, cause my workplace, we just had like a potluck like event today, so people are bringing in food, and tomorrow there's a Christmas celebration with the children and the parents, so and educators as well. So it's gonna be fun. Um, yeah. It's like 32 degrees outside, so it's yeah, definitely very stuffy. Okay, bye.